My friends, tonight I want to speak to you about the greatest conversation you will ever have. It is not with your neighbor, not with your spouse, not with your employer, but with the infinite intelligence that sustains every star and every breath you take. The way you speak to the universe determines the way the universe answers you, but it is always responding, always echoing the tone of your inner words. When you talk to the universe correctly, with faith, with feeling, and with clarity, what the world calls miracles appear. Yet I call it law, the eternal law of consciousness. When the universe is listening, my friends, I want you to begin tonight with this realization. The universe is listening, not tomorrow, not someday in the future, but now. At this very moment, it bends its ear to the whisper of your soul. Every word, every thought, clothed in feeling, every belief you allow to linger, these are not lost. They are heard, and more than heard, they are answered. Do not imagine that your words disappeared into silence. They go forth as creative forces. They are seeds sown into the infinite field of consciousness, and the soil never rejects a seed. The soil accepts everything without judgment. The only question is, what kind of seed are you planting? For what you sow in word and thought, you shall surely reap in circumstance and form. Consider the countless moments of your day. How often do you declare defeat in casual speech? How often do you describe yourself as tired, unlucky, burdened? How often do you rehearse worries and call it being realistic? Every time you do, you are conversing with the universe. And the universe answers not with argument but with reflection. It echoes your tone. It reflects your assumptions. It magnifies your inner talk until it takes shape in the external world. Let me tell you this. The universe does not listen to the words alone. It listens to the music beneath them. You may say, I am wealthy, but if your heart trembles with fear of poverty, then it is fear that is heard. You may declare, I am loved, but if you secretly feel unworthy, then it is unworthiness that is received. The creative power is not tricked by empty words. It vibrates with the feeling that carries them. Now, many of you think of prayer as a ritual, a formula, a set of words repeated until some distant God takes pity and responds. But I tell you, prayer is the very speech of your soul. Prayer is the conversation you are having with yourself all day long. You cannot hide from it, for your circumstances reveal it. Show me your world and I will tell you what you have been speaking in the secret places of your heart. The universe listens with perfect accuracy. It does not distort. It does not mistranslate. If you whisper fear, fear returns. If you whisper confidence, confidence returns. If you dwell in gratitude, more is given to be grateful for. And if you dwell in complaint, complaint multiplies. This is not reward or punishment. It is simply the law of consciousness, the mirror held before you at all times. So what does it mean to talk correctly to the universe? It means to become aware of your words, both spoken aloud and spoken in silence. It means to take responsibility for the language you allow to flow through your mouth. It means to cease idle chatter of lack, limitation, and despair, and to begin speaking the language of abundance, possibility, and faith. Do not dismiss this as mere positive thinking. I am not telling you to decorate your speech with pretty phrases. I am telling you that the very structure of reality is built from the tones of consciousness you carry. The thoughts you repeat become grooves in your being, and the universe follows those grooves like a river following its bed. Change the bed, and the river changes course. Change your words, and the universe must change its answer. Let me give you an image. Imagine standing before a great mountain. You shout into it, and what happens? The mountain returns your voice as an echo. If you cry out failure, the mountain does not reply success. It gives you failure again. If you cry out, I am lost, the echo returns, I am lost. This is the law of echo. Now lift your voice and cry victory, and hear it return. Cry, I am free, and freedom echoes back. The universe is that mountain. Whatever you send into it returns amplified. But here is the wonder. Unlike the mountain, the universe does not merely echo sound. It echoes experience. If you declare health with conviction, health finds you. If you declare success with vision, opportunities appear. If you declare love with sincerity, relationships form to mirror it. What you say inwardly with feeling becomes the outer stage upon which you walk. Do not think this is difficult. It is only difficult if you try to mix two languages, the language of faith and the language of fear. The universe cannot give a clear answer to a divided mind. You say, I am blessed in one breath, and I am cursed in the next. You affirm all is well by morning, and by evening you murmur nothing works for me. And then you wonder why life feels confused, inconsistent, unsettled. The answer is clear. You have not spoken with a single tongue. The universe is simple, my friends. It gives back what it hears. So choose the words you want to hear return. If you would have life say you are strong, then you must declare, I am strong. If you would have life say you are provided for, then you must declare, I am abundant. If you would have life say you are loved, then you must dare to say, I am. Now some may object, but I cannot say such things when I do not see them. It feels false. Yet I tell you, it is not false. It is planting. The farmer does not accuse the soil of lying, because the seed is not yet a tree. He plants, he waters, he waits, and in time the tree appears. So too with your speech. Speak as though it were already so, and allow the universe to bring forth the evidence. The lie is not in saying I am wealthy when wealth is unseen. The lie is in saying I am poor when the infinite source dwells within you. And so to live consciously is to live as one aware of the conversation always taking place. Every word, every phrase, every assumption, these are all prayers. Do not waste them. Do not throw them carelessly into the air. If you must speak, speak life. If you must imagine, imagine nobly. If you must dwell on a thought, let it be one that lifts rather than lowers. For the universe is listening always, and the law is sure, as you sow in word, so shall you reap in form. Therefore tonight I urge you, become the guardian of your speech. Catch the careless word before it takes root. Replace it with the declaration you desire to see. When you feel tempted to describe lack, instead affirm abundance. When fear rises to your lips, let courage replace it. When doubt whispers in your mind, let faith speak louder. For the universe leans in to hear, and it answers only according to what you truly say and feel. My friends, the universe is listening, and because it listens, you are never powerless. You carry within you the power to shape tomorrow by the words you speak tonight. Stand watch over the gate of your lips, and let no destructive word pass through. Speak as though the world were already what you desire, and watch as the universe bends to make it so. T. The inner conversation. My friends, if the universe is listening, and it is, then the most important question becomes, what are you saying when no one else can hear? For it is not the words you speak upon the stage of life that carry the greatest weight, but the secret dialogue you carry within yourself. This hidden conversation, this ceaseless murmur of thought and feeling, is the true prayer. Outwardly you may speak, with courtesy, with reason, with restraint, but inwardly when you are alone, what do you say to yourself? What do you say about your future? About your worth, about your possibilities? That inner dialogue is the seedbed of your destiny. The world you see outside is nothing but the echo of the words you repeat inside. Let me be very clear. Your inner conversation creates your outer conditions. You cannot continually talk to yourself as a victim and expect to walk as a victim. You cannot scold yourself inwardly and expect the world to praise you outwardly. You cannot rehearse failure in imagination and expect to meet success in reality. The law is precise, unfailing, and impartial. As within, so without. So I ask you tonight, listen to your own voice. What tone does it carry? Does it accuse, or does it bless? Does it weaken, or does it strengthen? Every time you engage in this hidden talk, you are shaping the very foundation of your life. Consider the man who says outwardly, I will succeed. The world applauds his confidence, but inwardly he whispers, I will probably fail. Which voice does the universe hear? Not the applause, not the brave front, but the secret whisper. That whisper becomes the true command, and life obeys it. He finds doors closing, opportunities slipping, and he wonders why. It is because his inner conversation has already prepared the failure. Now consider another. Outwardly she says little. She does not boast or broadcast her plans, but inwardly she repeats, I am rising, I am chosen, I am capable, my path is clear. She clothes these words with feeling. She sees herself already standing where she desires to stand. She rehearses victory in silence. And what happens? Without loud proclamation, the world begins to shape itself around her inner voice. Help comes, opportunities appear, resources flow, and others call it luck. But it is not luck. It is law. The inner conversation is constant. It never stops. Even now as I speak to you, you are answering me silently in your own mind. You are agreeing, or disagreeing, doubting or believing, questioning or affirming. That silent reply is your inner conversation, and it is far more powerful than the words you may speak aloud after this meeting ends. For the universe does not wait upon public speeches. It responds instantly to the tones of your hidden dialogue. Some of you treat this inner conversation carelessly, as though it were private and harmless. You scold yourself in thought. You replay insults. You rehearse fears. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You think, it does not matter for no one hears. But I tell you, there is no privacy in consciousness. The universe hears. The subconscious records. And what is recorded inwardly must be expressed outwardly. Nothing remains hidden. Your inner talk will one day walk before you in the flesh. Do you see then why it is written, let the weak say, I am strong, not because the weak are blind to their condition, but because the inner speech of weakness must be replaced by the inner speech of strength, if strength is ever to appear. To say, I am strong, inwardly when you feel weak is not hypocrisy. It is transformation. It is planting the seed of strength in the soil of your being. Every great achievement was first rehearsed in the theater of inner speech. The victorious general first won the battle in his own imagination. The successful artist first applauded himself inwardly before the world knew his name. The lover was first cherished in secret thought before love appeared in flesh and blood. Nothing happens outwardly that was not first whispered inwardly. Now how do you change this inner conversation? For many have trained themselves to speak only of lack, to accuse themselves mercilessly, to expect disappointment as naturally as night follows day. The first step is awareness. Begin to listen to yourself. Catch the tone of your thoughts when you wake in the morning. Catch the words you use when something goes wrong. Do you say, of course this always happens to me? That is inner speech shaping your tomorrows. The second step is replacement. Do not merely try to silence the negative voice. Give it a new script. When the inner voice says, I cannot, replace it with I can and I will. When it says I am unlucky, replace it with everything is working in my favor. When it says I am not enough, replace it with I am complete, I am chosen, I am worthy. At first it may feel like pretense, but repetition, clothed in feeling, becomes belief, and belief becomes reality. The third step is persistence. Do not expect one inner declaration to erase years of self-condemnation. As the stream cuts the stone, not by force but by constant flow, so your new inner words will shape your destiny by persistence. Speak nobly to yourself again and again until the old voice grows faint and the new voice becomes your natural tone. You may ask, but what if I forget? What if I slip back into the old conversation? Then you begin again. Do not condemn yourself for the lapse. That itself becomes another negative conversation. Simply return to the noble words, to the faithful declarations, and resume the rehearsal of the life you desire. Let me tell you, when you persist in this new inner dialogue, you will see changes so natural, so inevitable, that you will forget you ever lived otherwise. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will come where none seemed possible. Doors will open, and you will not trace them to your inner speech at first. But if you look closely, you will see the world has simply mirrored the tone you established within. Think of your inner conversation as the script, and life as the stage. If you want the play to change, you must change the script. You cannot demand a new performance while rehearsing the same line. So write a new script for yourself. Speak it inwardly, feel it deeply, and watch as the actors of circumstance take their cues from your hidden dialogue. My friends, nothing is more important than the words you say to yourself in the silence of your own mind. Guard them as treasures, for they are shaping your destiny. Refuse the speech of defeat. Embrace the speech of victory. And persist until your world echoes the song of your soul. For the universe is listening always, and it hears most clearly the secret conversation of your heart. 3. Correct speech is feeling speech. My friends, let us move deeper into this mystery. We have said the universe is listening, and we have said it listens most intently to your inner conversation. But let me tell you now, it does not listen to words alone. Words by themselves are empty shells. They are sounds without power, shapes without life. What gives them life, what makes them creative, is the feeling that clothes them. Correct speech is not mere utterance. It is feeling speech. When I say to you, speak correctly to the universe, I do not mean to repeat phrases like a parrot. I do not mean to stand before a mirror and declare, I am wealthy, while within you the heart cries, I am poor. No, my friends, that is not correct speech. Correct speech is when the words you declare are wrapped in the sensation of already being true. It is when the heart and the tongue agree. It is when the image and imagination and the word upon the lips vibrate in harmony. For the law of creation does not answer to noise, it answers to vibration. And the vibration of consciousness is determined by feeling. You may utter the word freedom 1,000 times, yet if you still feel bound, you will remain bound. But utter it once, with the deep, steady feeling of release, and chains begin to fall away. The power is not in the repetition, the power is in the depth of feeling that clothes the word. Think of it this way. A letter is lifeless ink until breath gives it voice. And even then, the tone of voice carries more meaning than the letters themselves. You know this in human speech. A man may say, I love you, that if the tone is cold, the words ring hollow. Another may whisper it softly with warmth. And though the phrase is the same, the experience is worlds apart. So it is with the universe. It does not take your words at face value. It takes them at heart value. Correct speech then is not the language of lips, but the language of assumption. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are speaking correctly to the universe. You are saying, not in empty syllables, but in living vibration. This is already mine. I am already this. It is finished. That is the only speech the universe obeys. Let me remind you, the words I am are sacred. They are the root of every declaration. Whatever follows I am becomes the command of your being. But if you say, I am strong, while secretly feeling weak, then it is weakness that has truly been spoken. The words were correct, but the feeling contradicted them, and it is feeling that holds authority. The subconscious does not hear what you say. It feels what you mean. So how do we align word with feeling? How do we ensure our speech is clothed with power? First, you must quiet the mind long enough to feel. Too many of us speak while distracted, speak while anxious, speak while doubtful. The heart is divided, the mind is restless, and the words carry no weight. But when you still yourself, breathe deeply, and enter the mood of your desire, then every word you speak is charged. It is no longer a phrase, it is an act of creation. Imagine a woman who longs for love. Outwardly she says, I will find someone, but inwardly she feels alone, unworthy, forgotten. The words do nothing, for they are hollow. But let her enter the state of being cherished. Let her feel the warmth of companionship, the joy of being chosen, the laughter of shared life. Then let her say quietly within herself, I am loved. Now the phrase is no longer a wish. It is a vibration, and the universe must echo it back in form. Or imagine a man who struggles with money. He says aloud, I am prosperous, but his stomach tightens with worry. His mind rehearses unpaid bills. His heart sinks at the thought of tomorrow. Those words are powerless. They are like paper boats cast into a storm. But let him close his eyes, see himself paying every bill with ease, feel the relief of freedom, hear the compliments of friends who marvel at his success. Then let him say, I am prosperous. That speech is correct. That speech is feeling speech. That speech moves the universe. Now some of you will ask, must I always feel it perfectly? What if doubt creeps in? What if I cannot sustain the feeling? I tell you, it is not perfection that creates, but persistence. Do not despair if your first attempt feels weak. Every time you return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you strengthen it. Every time you align your words with that feeling, you deepen the groove in consciousness. Eventually it becomes natural, effortless, and the outer world must mirror it. Let us be practical. Tonight before you sleep, take one desire close to your heart. Do not try to cover many things. Choose one. Enter the mood of its fulfillment. Let the feeling grow within you until it is more real than the room around you. Then and only then, speak the word I am. Let the sentence complete itself naturally. I am healed. I am free. I am successful. Whisper it softly as though the whole universe were leaning in to hear. That is correct speech. That is prayer. That is creation. Do you see now why idle affirmations fail? You cannot speak of riches while feeling poor and expect the universe to be confused. You cannot declare health while feeling sick and think the law will be tricked. The universe knows only one language, the vibration of feeling. Words are the garments of feeling. Without the body beneath, the garment collapses. So I tell you, do not chase words, chase the feeling. Once the feeling is established, the words will come alive. Once the words are alive, the universe will respond, and you will find yourself surrounded by what you once only whispered in silence. My friends, correct speech is not difficult, but it requires sincerity. You must dare to feel the thing you long for, as though it were already here. You must let the joy of it saturate you, the relief of it settle upon you, the reality of it fill you. Then your words become commands, not requests. Then your prayer becomes decree. Then your speech becomes magic. And so I say again, the universe does not respond to empty utterances. It responds to the word made flesh, the word clothed in feeling. Speak correctly, speak feelingly, and you will discover that your world reshapes itself around the tone of your inner declaration. 4. The magic of I am. My friends, tonight we come to the greatest phrase ever spoken by man, I am. These two words, though small in size, carry the weight of the universe. They are not simply words to be uttered. They are the key to creation itself. Well, when you say I am, you are speaking the name of the Eternal One that dwells within you. You are calling upon the power that brought forth galaxies, that set the stars in motion, that clothed itself in human form so it might know itself through you. Understand this. Whatever follows, I am becomes the seed of your experience. When you say, I am weak, weakness rises to answer. When you say, I am strong, strength moves through your being. When you say, I am poor, poverty is summoned. When you say, I am rich, abundance is already on its way. The universe is not concerned with whether you mean it lightly or seriously. It only knows that you have invoked its law by claiming an identity. You may think these are only words, but I tell you they are not. They are decrees. They are pronouncements of being. And being is always creative. That is why I say, never place anything unworthy after I am. Do not take the name of God in vain, for to say, I am lost, I am hopeless, I am nothing, is to make the infinite within you wear a mask of limitation. Listen carefully. I am is not merely your name. It is not merely the phrase by which you describe yourself. I am is the very presence of God in you. It is the spark of eternity declaring itself through your lips. It is the invisible self, clothed in sound. To misuse it is to imprison yourself. To use it correctly is to release the power that reshapes worlds. Let me give you an image. Think of the phrase I am as the root of a tree. Whatever you attach to it becomes the branch that grows. Say, I am sick, and you grow the branch of illness. Say, I am healed, and you grow the branch of health. The root has no choice but to nourish the branch you have declared. It does not ask, do you wish this? It only obeys. That is why it is written, let the weak say, I am strong. Not because the weak should lie to themselves, but because the only way to change the tree is to declare a new branch and let the root feed it. You see, the words I am do not describe a condition. They create it. The moment you say I am, you are giving life to what follows. That is the secret. That is the magic. That is why the prophets of old trembled before this name and called it holy. For they knew that within it was hidden the power to make real anything you dare to claim. Let us make this practical. Suppose a man feels unloved. All day long, inwardly, he mutters, I am unwanted, I am forgotten, I am alone. He does not realize he is using the most sacred name in vain. He does not realize he is commanding the universe to mirror loneliness back to him. And so, though people may reach toward him, though opportunities for connection appear, he cannot receive them, for his I am has already decreed, I am unloved. Now suppose he changes his declaration. He closes his eyes. He enters the state of being cherished. He feels the warmth of affection, the joy of companionship, and he whispers, I am loved, I am chosen, I am wanted. Slowly, his tone changes, his posture shifts, his world reshapes itself, and soon, life reflects back exactly what he declared with I am. Or take the example of a woman burdened by poverty. Inwardly she repeats, I am broke, I am unlucky, I am stuck. And so her life becomes a mirror of these decrees. But let her dare to change her inner language. Let her say, even in the midst of lack, I am prosperous, I am favored, I am provided for. At first it may feel foolish. At first the world may contradict her, but persistently she speaks it. And persistently she feels it, until soon the invisible rearranges itself, and visible provision arrives. That is the magic of I am. Do you see then why so many live in bondage? They think life is cursing them, but it is their own misuse of I am. They think fate has abandoned them, but it is their own careless declarations that have bound them. The law does not mock them, it only obeys them. Now some of you may say, but I cannot say I am wealthy when I see bills. I cannot say I am healthy when I feel pain. I cannot say I am successful when failure surrounds me. And I tell you, that is precisely why your condition remains. You are waiting for evidence to grant you permission to declare. But the law is reversed. You must declare first, and the evidence will follow. To say I am is to assume. To assume is to create. The evidence comes after, not before. A seed does not wait to see the tree before declaring itself alive. It declares by pushing forth its roots. So too must you declare by saying, I am, even when the outer world laughs. The laugh is proof that the seed is hidden, not that it is absent. Now listen carefully. When you say I am, do not say it as a wish. Do not say it as a plea. Say it as a fact. Feel it as true. Let the words be clothed in certainty, for the subconscious accepts only what you feel to be real. You may say I am successful, but if you feel small, the words are powerless. Yet if you say I am successful, and you feel the confidence of success, you have spoken correctly, and the law must obey. Therefore, practice this daily. Stand before a mirror, not to see the reflection of your face, but to see the reflection of your being. Look yourself in the eyes and say, I am. Then complete the sentence with whatever you desire to experience. Say it slowly. Say it feeling. Say it as though the whole universe were waiting for your command. Because, my friends, it is. And when doubt rises, do not fight it with argument. Simply return to the declaration. Simply persist in the new assumption. Let your I am be louder than your doubt. Let your feeling of fulfillment drown out the memory of lack. For the law is sure. As you decree with I am, so shall it be. Remember, you are not speaking to a distant deity when you say I am. You are speaking as the deity. You are calling forth creation from within. You are not begging for power. You are exercising it. You are not seeking approval. You are declaring identity, and identity shapes destiny. So tonight, take these words into your heart. Never misuse the name I am. Never attach it to weakness, failure, or despair. Always attach it to strength, abundance, and joy. And even if the outer world contradicts you, hold fast. For the outer world is but yesterday's decree. Today you are speaking a new one. Today you are planting a new seed, and tomorrow the harvest must come. This is the magic of I am. It is not superstition. It is law. It is not wishful thinking. It is creation. Use it wisely and you will find the universe reshaping itself to mirror the greatness you have dared to declare. 5. The law of mental imagery. My friends, we have spoken of the power of words and of the sacred phrase I am. But now I must tell you something deeper. Speech alone is not enough. Words must be joined with vision. Thought must be clothed in image. For it is imagination that gives form to the formless. It is imagination that translates vibration into shape. Without imagery, your words are like seeds thrown upon stone. But with imagery, they take root and grow. This is the law of mental imagery. When you speak to the universe, you must also see what you are saying. You must paint the picture in the theater of your mind. For the subconscious does not hear only in syllables, it sees in symbols. It accepts pictures more quickly than phrases. A single vivid image, felt deeply, is worth more than 1,000 hollow declarations. Let me illustrate. Suppose you declare, I am successful. If these words remain abstract, without picture, without feeling, they float away. But if you close your eyes and imagine yourself standing in the office of success, shaking the hand of someone congratulating you, hearing the sound of praise in their voice, feeling the weight of accomplishment in your chest, then your declaration has been clothed. The words now wear flesh. The universe receives not only the sound, but the vision, and the vision compels manifestation. You see, man is always imagining, whether consciously or unconsciously, and what he imagines, he eventually expresses. You imagine quarrels and quarrels appear. You imagine lack, and lack takes form. You imagine joy, and joy becomes your portion. Imagination is the workshop of the soul. It is where tomorrow is built. And the law is this: whatever picture dominates your inner world must appear in your outer world. The prophets and poets of old knew this truth. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Why? Because without vision, words remain powerless. Without vision, life drifts aimlessly. But with vision, words become commands, and life takes direction. Now some may say, but my imagination runs wild. I cannot control it. To that I answer, you are already controlling it, though perhaps unconsciously. You are already using the law, but without discipline. For the images you repeat, whether of failure, fear, or defeat, are shaping your life just as surely as noble visions. The only difference is the quality of the seed. So why not plant wisely? Why not choose deliberately? Why not imagine what uplifts rather than what diminishes? Let me make this practical. Tonight, when you retire to bed, do not drift into sleep carrying the weight of the day. Instead, choose the picture you wish to experience tomorrow. If you desire health, see yourself walking freely, feeling light, smiling with vitality. If you desire abundance, see yourself holding the symbol of provision, a check, a gift, a door opening. If you desire love, see yourself embraced, cherished, laughing with one who adores you. See it, and more importantly, feel it. For feeling is the life of the image. It is not enough to construct pictures like an architect. Without heart, you must enter them as though you were living them now. The law of mental imagery requires embodiment. It is not I will be, it is I am. You must see it as already finished. You must taste the fruit before the tree is grown. Do not say, I imagine someday. That is postponement. Say instead, I imagine now. Bring the future into the present. In your mind, see it, live it, dwell in it. For imagination is not bound by time. It does not ask when. It declares now. And when you persist in the now of imagination, the when of reality takes care of itself. Let me give you an example. A young man desires promotion. He could repeat, I am promoted, 1,000 times and still doubt. But if he imagines himself in the new office, sitting at the new desk, hearing his colleagues address him by the new title, and if he feels the satisfaction of that role, then his words are clothed in vision. The law is set in motion. Sooner or later the world must rearrange itself to make room for the image he has assumed. Or consider a woman longing for healing. She could pray endlessly, I am healed. But if she still sees herself weak, frail and sick, the prayer has no power. Yet if she closes her eyes and imagines herself walking in the sun, laughing, moving with ease, hearing others remark on her radiance, if she feels it real, then she has spoken in the true language of the universe, and the body must obey the image impressed upon it. This is the law of mental imagery. What you see inwardly, you will one day see outwardly. What you dwell upon within becomes your dwelling place. Now many of you say, but my imagination is weak. I tell you, it is not weak. It is undisciplined. You have let it wander in fields of fear. You have let it replay failures and disappointments. You have let it rehearse arguments and injuries. And so it seems powerless. But redirect it, harness it, guide it toward noble scenes, and you will discover it is the most powerful faculty you possess. Begin simply. Do not try to imagine vast empires if your heart trembles at the thought. Imagine small scenes that carry the essence of your desire. If you long for wealth, do not try first to see millions. Instead, imagine paying a bill with ease, or buying something without hesitation, or hearing someone say, you are doing well. These small images, repeated with feeling, grow into larger realities. The subconscious accepts small seeds as readily as large ones. Begin where you can feel it natural and let it expand. The key always is feeling. A picture without feeling is a shadow, but a picture with feeling is alive. You must feel yourself in the scene. You must feel the joy, the relief, the satisfaction. That feeling is the stamp upon the subconscious. And once stamped, it cannot be erased without a stronger impression. This is why I urge you, do not rehearse negative scenes. Do not replay insults. Do not imagine disaster. For every time you do, you are stamping the subconscious with pictures that must come to pass. Guard your imagery as jealously as you would guard your speech. For both are prayers, and both are answered. When you unite word and image, you become unstoppable. To say I am free, and to see yourself walking in freedom, and to feel the relief of liberty. This is the trinity of creation. Word, image, and feeling, working together, move mountains. So tonight, take this law into practice. Do not leave it as theory. Choose the image of the life you desire. Enter it in imagination. Live there until it feels real. Speak it inwardly as I am, and then let go, trusting the Lord to bring it forth. You need not know how. You need not strain. The seed does not strain to grow. It only rests in the soil. So too must you rest in the vision, and life itself will arrange the circumstances. My friends, imagination is not a child's plaything. It is the creative power of God within you. It is the workshop of eternity, and the law is exact. As you imagine, so shall you become. Therefore imagine nobly, speak nobly, feel nobly, and watch as your world reshapes itself into the image you have dared to assume. 6. The silence between the words. My friends, we have spoken of words and of images and of the sacred feeling that clothes them both. But now I must draw your attention to something often ignored, yet more powerful than words themselves. It is the silence between them, for in silence creation begins. In silence the seed of speech takes root. In silence God moves. When I speak of silence, I do not mean the absence of noise alone. You may sit in a quiet room and yet be filled with the loudest chatter of the mind. No, the silence of which I speak is inner stillness, the calmness of spirit, the resting of thought, the pause between desire and fulfillment, where the law of creation operates unseen. Consider music. A song is not only notes, it is notes and pauses. Remove the pauses, and what was once music becomes noise. The beauty lies not merely in the sound, but in the silence that gives it rhythm, depth, and meaning. So it is with your inner speech. Your declarations gain power when they arise from silence. Your images gain strength when they rest in silence. The prophet said, "Be still and know that I am God." Why still? Because only in stillness can you feel the depth of I am. Only in silence does the word take root in the fertile soil of the subconscious. You cannot plant a seed in soil constantly being stirred. You cannot impress the subconscious while racing in restless thought. The word must be dropped into silence, like a seed into still earth. This is why prayer is not loudness. True prayer is not endless repetition, nor is it anxious begging. True prayer is silent assumption. It is the quiet resting in the awareness of already being what you desire. It is the stillness that says without words, it is done. And in that stillness the law responds. Let me show you how this works. Imagine you declare, I am free. If you speak this in haste, rushing to convince yourself, the words scatter like leaves in the wind. But if you speak it once with feeling and then fall silent, resting in the calm certainty of freedom, then the words descend deep. It is the silence after the declaration that seals the impression. You see, the subconscious is not moved by much speaking. It is moved by the quality of being, and being is felt most deeply in silence. Words are the spark, but silence is the soil. Together they give birth. Think of the farmer. After planting seed, he does not dig it up every hour to see if it has grown. He leaves it in the darkness in silence, trusting the unseen process. The seed does its work without noise, without witness. So must you. After you have spoken your desire in feeling speech, after you have clothed it with image and assumption, you must release it into silence. Do not keep disturbing it with anxious thought. Leave it in the stillness, and the unseen power will bring it forth. Now let us take this further. The silence is not empty. It is filled with the presence of God. It is filled with the creative life of the universe. When you enter silence, you do not enter nothing. You enter the field where all things are possible. That silence is the womb of creation. There the word becomes flesh. Some fear silence, because it confronts them with themselves. In silence the masks fall, the distractions fade, and the inner state is revealed. But do not run from it. Enter it boldly. For only when you face yourself in silence can you plant new seeds. Only then can you replace old assumptions with new. Silence is not your enemy, it is your ally. Let me give you a practice. Each night before you sleep, withdraw into silence. Do not reach for the noise of the world. Do not replay the troubles of the day, nor rehearse the fears of tomorrow. Instead, grow still, breathe slowly, let the body rest, and in that stillness let one phrase rise. I am. Do not add more at first, simply feel I am. Feel the fact of your existence, the root of being. That silence is the doorway. Then when you have touched the depth of I am, allow the feeling of your wish fulfilled to join it. Whisper within, not with lips, but with heart. I am free, I am loved, I am successful. Speak it once feelingly, then let silence hold it. Do not force, do not strive. In that rest, creation has already begun. You will find that silence is not passive, it is active, potent, alive. In silence, intuition awakens. In silence, ideas come. In silence, doors open within that later open without. If you train yourself to love silence, you will discover it to be the most creative state of all. Let me remind you, all great creations begin in silence. The sculptor first envisions in silence. The composer hears the symphony in silence. The inventor sees the design in silence. Outward action comes later, but inward silence is the birthplace. So too with you. Do not fear stillness. Do not think you must constantly repeat or constantly act. There is a time to speak and a time to be silent. There is a time to declare and a time to rest. And the rest is as holy as the declaration. When you master silence, you master manifestation. For silence is faith expressed. Silence says, I do not need to strive, for it is already mine. Silence says, I rest, because the law is certain. Silence says it is finished. And so I urge you, practice the silence. After your affirmations, be still. After your imaginal acts, be still. After your prayers, be still. Do not fill the space with doubt or chatter. Let the silence do its work, for it is in that silent interval that the seed is germinating. The law is arranging, the unseen is forming the scene. My friends, the universe does not need your noise. It needs your knowing, and knowing is found in silence. To talk to the universe correctly, you must also learn when to stop talking. You must let silence complete the conversation, for the universe answers not in clamor, but in quiet unfoldment. Therefore I say unto you, seek the silence, love it, enter it daily, make it your dwelling place, and from that dwelling place, let words and images flow. In silence you will discover the true voice of God, the still small voice that speaks not in thunder but in peace. The universe always says yes. My friends, I must now tell you one of the greatest secrets of life. The universe never argues. It never debates. It never corrects. It never resists. The universe always says yes. To whatever you declare, to whatever you assume, to whatever you persist in feeling, the answer is yes. If you say, I am strong, the universe replies, yes, you are strong. If you say, I am weak, the universe replies, yes, you are weak. If you say, I am rich, it says yes. If you say, I am poor, it says yes. This is why the law is impartial. It is no respecter of persons. It does not decide who is worthy and who is not. It simply reflects. It simply affirms. It simply agrees. The universe is like a perfect mirror. It cannot give you what you deny yourself. It cannot contradict what you assume. If you look into a mirror and frown, the reflection does not smile back. If you scowl, it does not laugh. The mirror only reflects what is before it. So too the universe. It reflects your inner state, your assumption, your inner speech. Do you see the responsibility this gives you? Life is not happening to you. It is happening from you. Every belief you hold, every word you repeat, every image you entertain is a request, and the universe says yes. Every assumption is an order, and the law fulfills it. Whether you sow joy or sorrow, abundance or lack, health or illness, the soil of life does not discriminate. It grows what you plant. And here is the wonder. Once you understand that the universe always agrees, you no longer waste energy fighting. You no longer strive to convince life to give you what you want. You realize it is already agreeing with you. It has always been agreeing with you. The only question is, what are you declaring? What are you assuming? What are you planting? Now some will say, but I never asked for failure. I never asked for loneliness. I never asked for lack. And I tell you, you did not with lips, but with feeling. You may not have spoken it aloud, but you whispered it in fear. You rehearsed it in worry. You imagined it in dread. And the universe, faithful servant that it is, said yes. This is why the law is both terrifying and glorious. Terrifying if you live unconsciously, glorious if you live deliberately. For it never fails, it never refuses, it always agrees. Think of the child who plays with clay. Whatever shape he presses, the clay agrees. He may make a beast, or a bird, a house or a tree. The clay does not resist. It yields to his touch. So too the law of the universe. It yields to your assumption. It takes the shape of your inner conviction. Let me make this practical. A man says to himself, I never get a break. No one helps me. Life is against me. He repeats it in conversation, in thought, in feeling. And the universe answers yes. Life seems to oppose him at every turn, not because life has chosen to punish him, but because life is faithful to his own declaration. Another man in the same city, in the same conditions, says to himself, everything works out for me. Doors open for me. People are eager to help me. He feels it true. He lives in that assumption. And the universe, impartial, says yes. And help appears. Doors open. Opportunities arise. Not because he is more worthy, but because he assumed differently. You see, the law does not care whether you imagine noble things or ignoble things, whether you speak words of faith or words of fear. Its only function is to agree. It is like soil. Plant wheat, you reap wheat. Plant thorns, you reap thorns. The soil does not choose. It only yields. So I ask you tonight, what seeds are you planting? What declarations are you repeating? What inner conversations are you entertaining? For all of them are prayers, and all of them are answered yes. This is why you must guard your words. This is why you must discipline your imagination. This is why you must choose your assumptions with care. For the law is absolute. The universe always says yes. Now some may object, but I said I am rich, and yet I am still poor. I said I am loved, and yet I am still alone. Did the universe not say yes? And I tell you, yes it did, but not to the words alone. It said yes to the feeling that clothed them. If the words said one thing but the heart felt another, it was the heart that was believed. You cannot declare abundance while feeling lack and expect abundance to appear. The universe said yes to the deeper voice, the voice of assumption. Therefore, to change your world, you must change your assumption. You must change the inner conviction to which the universe is saying yes. If you want a new outer reflection, you must offer a new inner declaration. This is the great responsibility of man, to choose his assumptions wisely. For the law does not pause to ask, do you really want this? Do you understand the consequences? It simply says yes. Like fire, it will cook your meal or burn your house depending on how you use it. Like electricity, it will light your home or shock your hand depending on how you handle it. The power itself is neutral. It is your use of it that determines the outcome. And so, my friends, stop blaming circumstances. Stop blaming fate. Stop blaming others. Life is not against you. Life is agreeing with you. If you change what you assume, life will agree with that as well. Try it tonight. Instead of saying, nothing ever works for me, declare inwardly, everything works together for my good. Feel it as true. Rest in it as though it were already done. And watch as the universe nods in agreement, arranging events to fulfill your new assumption. Remember, the universe is not a judge. It is a mirror. It does not punish or reward. It reflects and agrees. If you want a different reflection, you must present a different face. If you want a different agreement, you must offer a different declaration. Therefore I say unto you, dare to assume nobly, dare to speak boldly, dare to feel greatly, for the law will not deny you. The universe will always say yes. So let your yes be to health, and the universe will agree. Let your yes be to abundance, and it will agree. Let your yes be to love, to freedom, to joy, and all creation will echo your affirmation. For the secret of life is simple. The universe always says yes. The only question is, what are you saying? H is Ian, living in the end. My friends, let us now come to the great secret of secrets, living in the end. All that I have told you about words, about feelings, about imagery, and about silence culminates in this. For the true art of speaking to the universe is not in asking for what you want, but in assuming that it is already done. Creation is finished, and your task is not to beg, but to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. This is what it means to live in the end. When I say the end, I do not mean the end of your life. I mean the end of your desire. The end is that moment when the thing longed for is accomplished, when the prayer is answered, when the wish is fulfilled. Living in the end means dwelling inwardly as though you already are the person you long to be, already have the thing you desire, already stand where you wish to stand. It means assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled now, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Do not confuse this with mere daydreaming. Daydreaming is weak. It is imagining without conviction. Living in the end is imagination with faith. It is wearing the garment of your desire until it fits so naturally that you forget you ever wore another. Consider this. When an actor takes the stage, he puts on the costume of his role. For the time of the play, he is no longer himself. He is Hamlet, or Caesar, or Macbeth. He speaks their lines. He feels their feelings. He walks in their shoes. And for the audience, he is the role. In the same way, you must put on the role of your fulfilled desire. If you long for wealth, wear wealth. If you long for health, wear health. If you long for love, wear love. You must act the part inwardly until the play becomes your reality. The world will tell you to be realistic, to look at facts, to accept things as they are. But I tell you, the only reality is your assumption. Facts are but shadows cast by belief. Change your belief and the shadows shift. The outer world is always catching up to the inner world. To live in the end is to give the inner world precedence, to let imagination lead and facts follow. Let me give you an example. A man desires a new home. If he prays, "Oh Lord, give me a house," he has not understood the law, for he is asking from lack, and lack reproduces itself. But if he closes his eyes and imagines standing at the threshold of his new home, feeling the doorknob in his hand, hearing the echo of his footsteps in the rooms, smelling the fragrance of fresh paint, if he lives in that end as though it were now, then he has prayed aright. He has already occupied the state, and the world must echo his assumption. Or a woman longs for healing. She may plead, "Please make me well," and yet continue to see herself sick. That prayer is from the beginning, not from the end. But if she imagines herself laughing, walking, dancing, hearing friends say, "You look radiant," if she assumes the state of health, then she is living in the end, and health must appear, for the law cannot be broken. You may ask, but how can I live in the end when my senses deny it? How can I feel rich when the bills pile up? How can I feel loved when I am alone? And I tell you, that is the very test. Faith is the daring to assume the unseen as real. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. To live in the end is to disregard appearances and rest in the unseen truth. Think of the seed planted in soil. You do not see the tree, yet you live as though it will grow. You water it, you tend it, you make room for it, though nothing appears above ground. Why? Because you trust the unseen process. So too with imagination. Live as though the seed is already growing. Make room for the harvest. Speak as though it were done. Feel as though it were done. That is living in the end. I say unto you, the end is not a distant goal. It is a present state. And the only way to arrive at it is to assume it now. If you wait until circumstances confirm it, you will wait forever. But if you dare to assume it before it appears, then you have set the law in motion, and circumstances must bow to your assumption. This is why I insist. Creation is finished. Every possibility already exists. The version of you that is healthy, wealthy, loved, and free already. Your task is not to create it, but to select it by assumption. You do not build the end. You enter it. You do not force it. You accept it. And by acceptance, you fuse with it. And it must externalize. Do not think this is pretending. Pretending implies you know it is false. Living in the end is knowing it is true, though not yet seen. Pretending is weak imagination. Assumption is creative imagination. Pretending dies when you open your eyes. Assumption lives even when the senses deny it. So tonight, choose your end. What is it you desire? A position, a home, a relationship, a healing? Do not ask for it. Do not hope for it. Occupy it. Live in it inwardly until it feels natural. Walk as though you are already there. Speak as though it were already so. Let the inner act precede the outer fact. The law is simple. Whatever you occupy inwardly, you must eventually occupy outwardly. If you live in the end of wealth, wealth will come. If you live in the end of health, health will come. If you live in the end of love, love will come. For the end is the cause, and life must bring it forth. Now some of you may fear disappointment. You may say, what if I assume and nothing happens? And I tell you, the only failure is to abandon the assumption. If you persist, the end will come. Do not measure by time. The seed knows its own season. Your task is not to watch the clock. Your task is to live in the end. Persist, my friends. If doubt arises, return to the end. If fear whispers, return to the end. If circumstances scream the opposite, return to the end. For the end is truth, and all else is shadow. Hold the end, and the shadows must rearrange. Therefore I urge you tonight, live in the end. Do not visit it like a tourist. Dwell in it like a home. Let it saturate you, guide you, define you. For as surely as night follows day, the world will mirror the state you persist in. The secret is simple. The end is already yours. Dare to live in it now, and the universe will agree. 9. Persistence is the golden key. My friends, if there is one quality above all others that will carry you from desire to fulfillment, it is persistence. For imagination is the seed, faith is the soil, but persistence is the sunlight that compels the seed to grow. Without persistence, your assumption withers at the first wind of doubt. With persistence, nothing in heaven or on earth can stop its manifestation. You see, the great tragedy is not that people do not imagine or that they do not desire, but that they do not persist. They touch the end once, perhaps twice, and then abandon it when the world shows no immediate change. They plant the seed and then dig it up to see if it is growing. They speak to the universe for a night, and when nothing happens in the morning, they declare the law false. But the law is never false. The only falsehood is their lack of persistence. Let me be clear. Persistence does not mean straining, nor does it mean forcing. It does not mean endless effort. Persistence is quiet loyalty to your assumption. It is the refusal to abandon your inner end, regardless of appearances. It is saying within yourself, though the outer world denies it, I remain faithful to the inner truth. Though facts contradict, I persist in the reality of imagination. You must understand, the universe is not moved by a fleeting desire. It is moved by sustained assumption. A passing thought cannot mold reality, but a persistent feeling engraves itself upon the fabric of life. This is why so many fail. They speak once and expect the world to bow. But life responds not to occasional whispers, but to consistent tones. Imagine a sculptor shaping stone. He does not strike once and expect the statue to appear. He strikes again and again, with patience, until the form hidden within reveals itself. So too with imagination. You must return to the end, again and again until it becomes natural. Every return is a stroke of the chisel. Every assumption is a shaping of reality. And if you persist, the form must appear. Now hear me. Persistence is not weariness. It is not anxious repetition. It is not trying to convince yourself. No, persistence is calm, knowing. It is walking back to the state of the wish fulfilled every time you wander. It is the quiet decision. This is who I am. This is what I have. This is my truth. Do not measure by how often you fall away. Measure by how faithfully you return. For the law does not demand perfection, but persistence. If you drift into doubt, do not despair. Simply return to the end. If fear arises, do not curse yourself. Simply return to the end. If circumstances overwhelm, do not surrender. Simply return to the end. Each return strengthens the state, until at last it becomes effortless, and the world conforms. Consider the story of the widow and the unjust judge. She came again and again, demanding justice. At first he refused, but because of her persistence, he yielded. So it is with life. The outer world may resist, but if you persist inwardly, It must surrender, not because it wishes to, but because law compels it. The outer world has no choice but to reflect the inner world, and persistence engraves the inner world until it is unshakable. Ask yourself tonight, where have I abandoned my assumption? Where have I let appearances dissuade me? Have I planted a seed and then uprooted it in impatience? Have I spoken to the universe, then contradicted myself with doubt? If so, do not condemn yourself. Simply begin again, for the law makes no record of your failures. It records only your persistence. I tell you, the man who persists is greater than the man who begins with enthusiasm but faith. Enthusiasm is common. Persistence is rare. Enthusiasm bursts like a flame, but persistence endures like the sun. If you would manifest, you must cultivate the quality of persistence until assumption becomes your dwelling place and not a passing guest. How do you persist? By returning night after night to the end, by assuming it in moments of quiet, by feeling it when you wake and feeling it before you sleep, by refusing to let circumstances dictate your state, by choosing inwardly again and again until the state takes root. Do not wait for evidence to persist. Evidence is the fruit, not the seed. If you wait for the fruit to appear before persisting, you will never harvest. The farmer does not wait to see sprouts before watering the soil. He waters because he trusts the process. So too with you. Persist in imagination because you know the law, not because the senses confirm it. Persistence is the golden key because it bridges the unseen and the seen. It takes the invisible seed of assumption and carries it through time until it blossoms in the world. Without persistence, the seed dies unborn. With persistence, even the most stubborn soil must yield. Hear me well, persistence is not about forcing the outer world. It is about remaining loyal to the inner world. The moment you are loyal within, the outer must conform. That is 10. The union of man and God in speech. My friends, we have come now to the summit of our journey. We have spoken of words, of I am, of imagination, of silence, of the unwavering yes of the universe, and of living in the end. Now I must show you the final truth, the ultimate power that lies within your speech. The union of man and God in every word you speak. You see, speech is not merely sound. It is not merely a tool of communication with the world outside. No. Speech is the bridge between the finite and the infinite. When you speak, you are touching the eternal. When you declare, you are stepping into the divine. Every word you speak is either a declaration of your own limited self or a revelation of the God within you. And this is why correct speech is nothing less than miraculous. Understand this. The universe is not distant. God is not far away. God does not wait to intervene. God resides within you, in the depth of your consciousness, and speaks to the world through your word. Every I am is a vibration of the divine. Every feeling that accompanies your word is the breath of creation. When you learn to speak correctly, when you align your word with your imagination, when you live in the end with faith and persistence, you are not commanding from outside, you are manifesting from within. You are God speaking to God through the human vessel. And yet so many squander this power. They speak hastily, they speak doubtfully, they speak from fear, anger, or lack. Every careless word is a command to the universe, and the universe impartial obeys. Every utterance of doubt, every murmur of complaint, every declaration of limitation becomes law in the outer world. That is why life seems so harsh to those who do not understand the sacredness of speech. They are blind to the fact that they have been issuing commands all along, and the universe has been faithful in saying yes. But when you understand, truly understand the union of man and God in speech, everything changes. You no longer pray from weakness, you no longer beg from fear, you no longer ask as though the power was somewhere beyond you. Instead, you assume, you declare, you speak as the divine speaks. And when you do, the outer world has no choice but to mirror your inner reality. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose a man desires a career that fulfills him. He may pray desperately yet live in doubt and anxiety. His words are hollow, and the law cannot act. But if he closes his eyes and imagines himself already successful, already respected, already walking the path he desires, and speaks inwardly with conviction, saying, I am capable, I am creative, I am recognized. He is no longer a petitioner. He is the law in action. He is God within him declaring what is already true. And the universe must answer yes. The same is true for love, for health, for wealth, for every desire. The law never fails. The universe always says yes. But it responds to the state you occupy, the feeling you sustain, and the words you utter. If your speech and imagination are united, your life cannot resist it. The outer world will adjust, rearrange, and conform. There is no power greater than the spoken word aligned with the inner vision. Now some may say, but I cannot control my words. I cannot always feel what I wish. To that I answer, that is why practice is required. That is why discipline of imagination, of inner speech, of living in the end, is essential. The mind and heart are muscles. They grow strong through repeated use. Begin small. Speak your inner I am daily. Live in the end for just a few minutes. Feel the joy, the accomplishment, the satisfaction, as though it were real. Return again and again. Persistence will strengthen the union of man and God in your speech, until it becomes effortless, until your words are automatically clothed in the divine. Understand this truth deeply. You do not create by asking. You create by assuming. You do not manifest by hoping. You manifest by feeling, imagining and speaking, as though the end has already arrived. Your words are not petitions. They are declarations, and the universe obeys declaration, not pleading. The law has no mercy or judgment. It is only reflection. Speak rightly, imagine rightly, persist rightly, and the world must obey. I say unto you, the final step is not complicated. It is simple, yet profound. Unify your imagination, your feeling and your speech with the reality you desire. Speak as though you are already in possession. Feel as though it is already yours. Imagine it so vividly that the senses are deceived into believing it is already done. Persist in this state, and all outer forms must follow. That is the law. That is the secret. That is the union of man and God in speech. And when you grasp this fully, you will never again be at the mercy of circumstance. You will no longer blame fate, fortune, or the world. You will know that you are the creative cause, the divine voice, the living word made manifest. The outer world will bend to your inner state, because it cannot do otherwise. The law is absolute, the universe faithful, and the power within you unlimited. So tonight, take this teaching and make it your own. Speak your I am with reverence. Clothe your words with feeling. Persist in living in the end. Enter the silence that strengthens the seed. Trust that the universe is saying yes at every moment, and know that in every declaration, you are not merely speaking, you are creating, you are commanding, you are God expressing through the human vessel. Remember, the outer world is always a mirror of your inner world. Change the inner, and the outer changes automatically. Live as if your wish is fulfilled. Persist until it is habitual. Speak as though it is already yours. Rest in the knowledge that the universe always agrees. And in this alignment of imagination, speech, and feeling, you will witness miracles, not as exceptions, but as the natural consequence of law obeyed. My friends, this is the culmination of all I have shared with you. From the power of I am, to the law of mental imagery, to the sanctity of silence, to the yes of the universe, to living in the end, to persistence, every step has led to this. The conscious union of man and God in speech. Speak correctly, imagine vividly, feel fully, persist unwaveringly, and you will see the unseen become the seen. Do not doubt, do not hesitate, do not postpone. Begin now, this very moment. Speak your I am rightly, enter the end, persist, and watch as life itself becomes the mirror of your imagination, the echo of your speech, and the reflection of the divine that dwells within you. For when man and God are united in speech, nothing is impossible. The law cannot fail, the universe cannot resist, and the life you have always imagined becomes not just possible, but inevitable.